Today we have a fun lesson. We're going to talk about dating somebody who speaks English as a first language. So, if you're someone who's learning English or English is not your first language, it can be really hard when you're dating somebody who speaks English fluently and it's their first language. There's a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of confusing things that people might say. So, if your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, or wife speaks English and you want to understand them better, this lesson is for you. If you are not dating somebody who speaks English, no problem. A lot of the words we are covering today can be heard in movies, in pop culture, in TV shows. So the vocabulary here is good for you to learn as well. Or maybe your dream is to date somebody who speaks another language, so this video might be for you as well. So let's look at today's plan. So today we are going to look at some confusing words and expressions that are often used in relationships that people who speak English as a second language might find challenging. We're going to look at ways to express yourself in a relationship better, how to understand more what your partner might be saying, and how to avoid some misunderstandings. So let's get started. The first expression is a really important expression because when an English speaker hears this, they realize that there's a lot of meaning this expression carries. We need to talk means there's a problem. So if you're in a relationship and your partner says, we need to talk, get ready. In general, it's probably going to be a serious conversation that might be upsetting, or there might be a problem that you have to talk about. So if you hear the words, we need to talk, get prepared. It doesn't mean, let's have a conversation. This is great. We need to talk is serious. You will hear it in movies and in TV shows. Whenever you hear we need to talk, prepare yourself because a problem or something bad is probably about to be told to you. Okay, another expression a lot of people might say in a relationship is, I need space. I need space. So the reason this might confuse someone is they hear the word space and they might think, oh, you just need me to be, moving over a little bit. When somebody says, I need space, they mean that they need time alone. Usually they say this if there's a problem in the relationship. So they need to think about things. They want to become a bit more emotionally distant. So if you hear somebody say, I need space, it means that they want some time alone. And it's a very common thing people ask for in relationships. So if you're in a relationship or if you're watching a TV show or movie about relationships, you'll probably hear this, I need space. A word you might hear when it comes to dating is the word chemistry. So chemistry is a science, but when we talk about it in a dating or relationship situation, it really means attraction. So it means that two people like each other and they have a physical connection. So they're attracted to each other. So what are some examples of how I would use this? Oh, you might say, maybe you have two friends. And when you see those two friends together, you think, oh, they're perfect for each other. There's so much chemistry. It means there's so much attraction between them. Or maybe you go on a date and you just click. You're perfect for each other. Even after one date, we had so much chemistry. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you go out with somebody for a while and you just don't feel it. It doesn't feel like a good connection. There's nothing wrong with the person, but you just don't have an attraction to them. So you might say, I don't feel the chemistry. I don't feel it with this person. So chemistry can have a scientific meaning, but it can also refer to attraction between two people. The next three questions are really good questions if you are in a relationship. What's wrong? Are you mad at me? Did I do something? These questions are good because in relationships, sometimes somebody might be mad or upset, and you might not understand what's happening. Your girlfriend or your boyfriend seems mad, but you don't know why. So if you want to ask in a very clear way, you can use one of these. What's wrong? Are you mad at me? Did I do something? Now, the truth is, you might not get a clear answer. A lot of the times when people ask these questions in a relationship, their partner might say, no, nothing's wrong. I'm fine. Everything's okay. And you know something's wrong, but they're saying everything's okay. The point of this, though, is that these are the right questions to ask. You might get a different answer that you don't understand, but at least you can get the right question when this is happening to you. So again, what's wrong? Are you mad at me? Did I do something? All right, let's look at some other key expressions for relationships. The next expression is the words, it's complicated. It's complicated can be used to describe a relationship that's confusing or not clear. It's when you might not know if somebody's your boyfriend or girlfriend, just a friend. Maybe you were dating and now you're not, but you're still hanging out. So if you're not clear what the relationship status is, you can say it's complicated. A great example of this is if you ever watched the TV show Friends. There were two characters, Rachel and Ross, and sometimes they were together, sometimes they weren't. They had a baby, but they weren't together, and then I think they were together. If I wanted to describe their relationship, I'd say it's complicated because it's not clear. It's quite confusing. Okay, another great example of a word we use when talking about dating and relationships is red flag. This word is being used a lot nowadays. If something is a red flag, it means it's a warning sign. So we use it to describe somebody that we think has a problem, or maybe an action they do that looks like they might have a problem. So for example, imagine if someone's going on a date with a guy, and the guy is always hanging out with lots of beautiful women. And his phone keeps ringing and it's another woman, and then the phone rings again and it's a different woman. And the guy lies about how he spends his time. Maybe he says, oh, I only have male friends. That would be a red flag. This guy probably, I don't know, has other girlfriends. Or maybe, somebody says, oh yeah, I have a great job. A big house. I have a lot of great things. I have a great watch. But then you find out that they're lying and none of it's true. That's a red flag. So when there's a warning sign where something isn't right and you think there's a bad quality for somebody, it's a red flag. So in the comments, can you think of any other red flags you've seen in relationships or heard about with people? Again, red flag is a really good word. It's coming up a lot nowadays. The next two words are very similar, but they have very different meanings. The first is the word a break, and the second is a break up. So this word up makes a difference. So when someone talks about a break in a relationship, they're not saying the relationship is completely finished. They're saying that they want to maybe have some space, maybe take some time apart. But the plan is to probably get back together. Not necessarily, but there's a good chance you might get back together if somebody says, I want a break. So usually there's this idea that it's kind of temporary. A breakup means completely done. We're finished. So if somebody says we're taking a break, it's not exactly over yet. We're breaking up, it's over. If you're interested in the sitcom Friends, it delves into this quite closely. There's a lot of controversy about were Ross and Rachel on a break or were they broken up? So if you like learning about this kind of thing, sitcoms are great ways to hear more about North American relationships. Okay, so the next expression is on the same page. When you're on the same page with someone, it means you're thinking alike. So maybe you have Amy and David, and Amy says, I want to have five kids. And David says, I want to have 5 kids too. Well, guess what? They're on the same page. Now, if Amy says, I don't want kids, and David says, I want 10 kids, they are not on the same page. So when we use on the same page, we're talking about, do you see the world, or do you have the same goals? Do you see the world in the same way, or do you have the same goals? If you do, you're on the same page. If your goals are very different, so imagine John wants to live in Japan and Judy wants to live in Australia. They're not on the same page. So it's a really good expression to know because, if you're ever in a relationship and you find out that you have differences, you might say, we're not on the same page right now. The last expression I want to teach you today is I feel. I feel is used in relationships. A lot of relationship therapists or couples therapists say this is a good way to communicate with each other. So if you hear your partner saying, I feel, and then they tell you something, they've probably been influenced by therapy or couples counselors. But this is becoming kind of a popular way for people to speak in relationships. So not everyone is doing this, but you might hear I feel statements. If you watch TV shows, you might see this, or your partner might say something like this to you. So let's give some examples. I feel hurt when you forget to do the dishes. I feel like you don't understand me. I feel like you don't respect me. I feel like we're not on the same page. So a lot of the times people will use I feel when they want to say something negative, but instead of saying, you don't understand me, the I feel makes it sound a little bit softer. So that's why some couples therapists recommend saying I feel. The point is, if you hear I feel, it's a common expression people are now using when they're expressing their opinions in a relationship. Okay, so we have covered a lot of different words today, a lot of different expressions. Dating somebody from a different culture can be very challenging, especially if you don't speak the same language. But there can be a lot of rewarding and fantastic things when you do that. You get to learn about another culture, another way to see the world, another lifestyle. So I think overall, dating somebody from a different culture or background, there can be a lot of positives and a lot of fun and rewards, but at the same time, there can be challenges. So I hope you learned something about North American dating culture today, as well as some common expressions you might hear English speakers use when they're talking about dating or relationships. So if you have experience dating somebody who speaks English as their first language, and you're somebody who is learning English, tell us about it in the comments below. I'm interested to know what maybe words they might use that you didn't understand, or if there's something that can be challenging in the relationship, or something that you find wonderful in your relationship. I'm really curious to hear about your experiences. So thank you for watching. To practice these words, you can visit us at www.engvid.com, and there you can actually take a quiz to look at some of the word definitions and to practice what you learned today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We have a lot of other videos on relationships and English and other topics. So thank you again for watching, and until next time, take care.